Welcome to South of King's Landing this week for episode 4, probably the most talked about episode of the season. It may end up being one of the most talked about. No, actually, that's going to be silly. Something more crazy is going to happen. Although this one has been making the internet go quite a bit crazy. Spoils of War. I was filling time while I quickly checked the fucking name.
It was making the internet go crazy before it was even aired.
This is true, because this episode did leak online. We could have illegally downloaded the episode, watched the really shitty 240p version, recorded this, had it out just after the episode dropped, but we didn't do that.
No.
We wait for it to actually air, and we get it out at our usual later than probably better time period. But that's okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. You know, it's
I would have hated to see this episode in crappy.
Oh, man. Especially, once you get to the end of this episode, that's when I was watching it, I'm like, fucking people watch this on, like, Nokia 2400 camera quality? Like, the fuck? Like, why would you do that to yourself? That seems like such a waste of effort. Anyway, we'll get to the end of the episode in a little bit. I will probably try and fly through the majority of the episode to get to the last battle quicker to talk about that, because that is, of course, the big thing. If you don't know, this is, of course, South of King's Landing, the Explosion Network's #1 Game of Thrones after show podcast thingy, talking thing, where review, talk about the episode, talk about the things that happened this week, everything that's going down this week in Game of Thrones. It is, of course, spoilers, and we're just going to run down what happens throughout the episode and give our thoughts and opinions on everything that's happening in the world of Westeros.
Yep.
HBO's Westeros, not George R.R. Martin's. All right.
Yeah.
So
important distinction.
I wasn't here. I wasn't here last week. Talk about it. Last week's episode had a bit of a weird ending, I thought, and this picks up straight after it. Like, I thought the previous episode's ending was kind of abrupt. Like, when it cut to black, I was like, oh, okay, that's how the episode's ending. Okay, fair enough. I mean, it was a big moment. I mean, they killed a character, sure, but it just seemed like, I don't know, show him walking away or something. Like, it just seemed like a really weird fade to black moment to me. Don't know. But then it cuts to like an ad for a car or something on Foxtel, so it just kind of just welds together really weird. Anyway, so this episode starts up where we basically a little bit further up the road from where we left off Jaime and crew. They're carrying a bunch of gold. They're taking it back to King's Landing. This is Cersei's big plan. Of course, she sent them all to Highgarden to basically get some sick loot, get some sick money to pay back some banks. Stuff. All that sort of stuff, and they've got lots of coin. Of course, they are the richest. They were the richest people in Westeros, right?
Yeah.
As far as
I believe so.
I mean,
Makes
the
sense.
Lannisters like to make a big deal, but the Lannisters, their things like paying back their debts. They had gold. They haven't had gold for this entire run of show, as far as I'm concerned. No, they've always been in debt.
The Tyrells seem to be the ones that actually farmed.
Yeah. So, Lannister's just a whole bunch of fucking gobbly-googly talk. It's just, Jaime's still pissed off. He chocks Bronn money. He wants a castle still.
Understandable.
He's on about that. I mean, it's funny because we did talk about him in like episode 1 or 2 or something like that. Like, where the fuck is he? And he just like randomly shows up in last week's episode again, and he's still just like, "Where's my castle, mate? Remember when I saved your life? Kind of like I did all that thing, went on that trip to you to get back your daughter. I know she ended up being dead anyway, but you did promise me a castle and all that sort of stuff. So I've done it." Jaime just letting down his mates. Don't be a good mate. You know, if you promise your friend something, follow up, I guess, is the moral of the story. King's Landing. Of course, Cersei's heard the news that they've got the gold because a carrier pigeon jumped through one of those black holes. Raven jumped through one of those black holes that now exist in Westeros, and like from where Jaime is to over to King's Landing, and quickly got the news to her. It appears they fucking travel fast this season. I tell you, everyone just appears to have news like they've got telephones or something.
They're just everybody's going everywhere so fast. There's no sense of time anymore.
No,
they're not bothering.
Really don't know.
They've got
it's like
only limited episodes left. People have to get places.
I mean, I understand, but at the same time, it is funny. It's like the episode ends and now it's like they're up the road further, but far as we know, they could be half an hour up the road or a week. We have no idea.
How many episodes in season 1 did it take them to get to King's Landing from Winterfell?
like an entire season.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, it makes sense. And we keep pointing out stuff like this. And it's, I mean, I understand why they're doing it. And they kind of have to rush it on. But at the same time, you could easily understand how they could draw this show out for another 2, 3 seasons. Like they can make it go for, way more seasons if they wanted to. If they kept it at the pace that we're used to of actually, because it is because past seasons we're actually used to people taking a very fucking long time to get to anywhere they want to go.
Yeah.
Not like I'm over in King's Landing, over here battle, over here back there, fucking just traveling around. Everything's going like that. So yeah, Cersei's got news that they've got the gold. She's snuggling up to
the bank guy,
the bank guy, Mark Gatiss. Yeah, that's I was about to say. Every time he's on, I'm just like, go write Sherlock or Doctor Who, you little fuck. Like, what are you doing here trying to fucking get back Cersei's money? Why are you helping out the bad guy? Go work on one of your shows. Okay, you and Stephen Moffat just fuck off. I really want Moffat to have a cameo in the show. If no one knows what we're talking about, Mark Gatiss, the guy who plays the banker, is, or at the moment, the person with Stephen Moffat on Doctor Who, and they also do Sherlock together. They're like best buddies. So I want Stephen Moffat to have a cameo just in the background. I don't know. I mean, Stephen Moffat,
him singing would get Arya to come up to him and he's singing a song.
Sure. Yep. Why the fuck not? This is the season of cameos. Just give me one to give us Doctor Who fans a little Easter egg that people won't understand. Nonetheless. So Mark Gatiss, or whatever the fucking banker dude's actual character name is, no one cares. He's Mark Gatiss. He's very happy that they've got money.
Like very happy.
Very, very happy. Now, straight away in this scene when I was watching it, I don't know if this is just me, and I don't want to try and sound like I was being too smarty pants about it, but as soon as I got watching this scene and they make the biggest deal out of him being like, yeah, well, we're really happy, money's all great, and then he says it twice, he's like, when the gold actually arrives, like at 2 times, and I'm just like, Jamie's going to get fucked up this episode. Like straight away, I'm like, they're foreshadowing it very hard, I felt like, in that particular scene. So straight away I was like, Jamie's not making it back, or that gold is not making it back. So, and Cersei's going to feel very fucking dumb in the moment because she's sitting there with her wine like, oh yes, I've solved all the issues. I'm going to be able to fucking feed families and fortune, do what the fuck I want and all this sort of shit. Whatever. There's not much of Cersei in this episode, which is good because I'm honestly kind of getting sick of just watching smug scenes of her. Yeah. Just kind of being, that's all she does. She's just like, I'm really not liking her this season. Like, she doesn't have like much of a struggle. No. She doesn't really have much of a story arc currently. It's just like, just kill her. Just kill her. I'm sick of her.
Yeah. What did you think of her last week with Euron and then the Sand Snakes?
I was just like, she's just being the Mad King. Yeah. Is she not? That's literally she was just doing fucked up like torture shit. I'm watching, I remember, I was just watching it like, she's just being evil. She's being a real evil bitch, which is what she's being. I mean, she's the Mad Queen. And you're watching that scene where she's like, I'm going to make her like watch you, and then you're going to watch her body like turn to dust in front of you and all this sort of fucked up shit. It's just like, she's completely fucking crazy. I don't know. That's the simplest way to put it. Every episode I'll say it until... And I do feel like if we're going to put a clock on Cersei, especially by the time we reach the end of this episode, I feel like her clock is within the next 2 episodes.
Ooh, 2 episodes.
I feel like she dies before the season finale.
Well, that makes sense because we only got like 3 episodes left, so 2 makes sense.
Yeah. So I'm going to put it... Yeah. So I'm going to put her on the... I would guess she'll die in episode 6. Because Game of Thrones does that usual thing where the biggest episode's the one before the last.
Penultimate.
The penultimate one, which they might change with this season and next season, considering it's not their like usual runtime. But if we're following usual Game of Thrones theory, like the penultimate has the biggest things, she dies in 2 episodes, is my bet currently. Yeah. If we want a Cersei death counter prediction clock happening in the background. So we go over to the north after Cersei's done with Bran. Now, if we're gonna Bronn and Bran in the same episode, really annoying me because I really fucking like say the wrong ones. Anyway, Bran being a bit of a dick this episode. Well, he's been a bit of a dick since he got back, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm a wizard now, and I don't need to be fucking nice to everyone. I'm a dick to you, and you. Fucking Mara comes in. She's like, oh, I fucking, basically saved my life. My brother fucking died for you. Pulled your fucking ass halfway across the continent.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks for that. Not even that.
He
didn't even say thanks. It was just like, all right, bye. She's like, I'm going to leave now. I'm just going to leave. Bran, I'm going to leave. She's doing the thing where...
He said, I don't need you anymore.
Yeah, don't need you anymore. Bye. My heart. I was just like,
oh,
poor Mira. Like,
yeah.
I was sitting there just like, Bran, you're a little fucking asshole. Someone needs to backhand slap this fucking kid, is all I'm saying.
I think she's right, though. I think he died in the cave and, like, the three-eyed raven's taken over his body.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, but at the same time, you're just like, you are being such a dick. There's no way around it. It's like, I'm just a three-eyed raven now. I've got no personality left. But I feel like if he's aware he has no I feel like if he's aware of it, then you should be able to fight it, if that makes sense. Like, he's aware that he's lost his, like, self. Like, he's like, Bran died. Like, he agrees with it.
Yeah.
So if he's aware of the problem, just try to be a little bit nicer, maybe. I don't know. Like, it's up to
Haven't
you,
got time to be nice when you're a seer.
I mean, all these fucking people died for him.
That's true.
Her brother, Hodor, fucking, there was, who else? There was someone else with him at some point. I swear there was...
Well, I guess all the other three-eyed raven.
The other three-eyed raven?
All those forest kids, they all probably died. Children?
And he's just like, now that he's back at home, he's just like, bye. Don't really need you anymore.
No.
Fuck you, Bran, you little dickhead.
Well, how about that scene with Littlefinger?
Fell off that cliff. Yeah, well, that's the next thing.
No, that was first, wasn't it?
No, I think it was after this. No, it was just before this.
Yeah.
But I was going to, like, combine this scene with the Sansa one. Because I just kind of want to talk about this knife thing in one big, compact fashion. Because I had to look up why the fuck I even care about this knife. Because before this, Littlefinger's in there saying his usual Littlefinger, like, blah, 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 blah. You can tell he wants something, but he's just, like, being Littlefinger, just, like, saying a whole bunch of shit. And you're listening to him, and you're going, Littlefinger, you're talking shit. What do you want? We know you, like, got some evil plan here. No one trusts you that's watching this show. Everyone in the show somehow still trusts you. I don't
think they do. Not anymore.
Some people seem to. I know Sansa doesn't. Fucking kick him out. Just get rid of him.
And Bran repeated his line. From like season one.
Bran knows fucking. Bran's fucking him.
Freaked him out, didn't it?
Yeah, that was good. I'll give Bran half a point for that because he's still a fucking dickhead. So there's this scene, and we'll talk about Arya in a bit. But just to combine them all, when Arya gets there and they all kind of meet up together, they go to the tree later, and he gets given a knife by Littlefinger, and this knife now gets passed on to Arya later. Now. Or a dagger, or whatever the fuck it is. It's like is it a knife or a dagger? Whatever.
Dagger.
It's a little pokey sword of some sort.
It'll kill you.
This thing, they're making such a big deal about it, this episode. Like, it was a big part of the episode.
Yeah.
2 scenes devoted to it, more or less. Everyone's talking about it like it's this big item. And I'm watching the episode going, what the fuck is this? Like, why should I remember this? And once the episode ended... Of course, you Google it, and you're like, oh, it's from fucking season 1. And for anyone who's not aware, watching, why you should care, the story is as follows. If you don't recall, in the first episode, or the second episode, no, it was the first
must
episode.
Have been second.
Was it second?
It was after he fell out.
Within the first 2 episodes, you will recall that Jaime Lannister pushes Bran out of
that's the first
the tower. He then ends up, of course, paraplegic. He's in bed. When he's in the bed, his mother's there. R.I.P. She is not dead at this time. A person then comes into their room and attempts to kill Bran. However, Mother Stark fights the person off and manages to fuck him off. Then Littlefinger comes in, or later after this point, tells her that the person who sent the assassin was Tyrion Lannister. She takes off with said knife to go give it to Tyrion, which basically sets forth the entirety of events that takes place in Game of Thrones.
Yep.
So this little knife is quite important, I suppose. And according to what I looked up, then in the books they hint at it. Apparently they hinted at it being Joffrey the one who sent the assassin and the knife, but they never actually confirmed it. In the TV show, they've never talked about this knife or the assassin, or followed up to actually explain who actually sent the assassin, because we're all going to presume it wasn't actually Tyrion, because we all know now that Tyrion's actually not a bad guy. Like, he wouldn't have done that for any reason. It just wouldn't make any sense for them to say it was him. So it obviously was someone else. So they introduced this knife into two scenes. I would assume at the time, Jamie, back and then, everyone doesn't remember now, because these days everyone's kind of rooting for Jamie, even when he's fighting characters we like, and it's really conflicting because we're like,
still banging his
we kind of like Jamie these days. But everyone forgets back in season 1, Jamie was a proper like bad guy. So it would make sense for him to actually be the person. But it is really weird. They introduced this knife, 2 scenes. So we're probably going to find out who actually sent the assassin, I guess. And that might be a big revelation or a plot point. But that is the knife's relevance. Did you find this whole thing as confusing and messy as me? Because I was really like, why are we...
Yeah, it was a little confusing. But I saw it previously on, so that showed...
I missed it.
Yeah, that showed...
I was late to my couch.
That showed that the scenes from season 1, so...
Okay, so for anyone at home that was late, or like grabbing a drink or something, because I was grabbing my breakfast.
Or like Jack doesn't want to watch them anymore because they spoil they foreshadow too much.
Foreshadow too much. For people like that, it's just like this. All this stuff, the knife stuff in the episode was kind of just like so confusing. Yeah. Nonetheless, as confusing as it was. Because it isn't relevant. Like, they haven't brought it up since it hasn't existed since season 1. I suppose I'm interested to find out if we are going to find out who the actual killer person was. I suppose
could be Littlefinger too. That's my other thought.
That could be true. I mean, that would actually make a lot of sense as far as like story.
Because you looked awfully worried this episode.
Yeah. All right, so to cover the Arya thing that we kind of skipped over, before she gets this whole... She does receive the knife off Bran, so she has the dagger knife thing. Yep. She's probably going to stab someone in the throat with it later in the season. Maybe she'll stab Littlefinger.
Yeah.
That'd be fucking fantastic. That would make my fucking day, is all I'm going to say. Perfect. Have Arya kill that fuck. So she rocks up at She rocks up finally at Winterfell.
Who taught you how to do that?
No one.
She's home, kinda. She got 2. This whole scene I found quite funny, with the 2 stupid guards and like their back and forth. Yeah. And now she just plays it off so cool, and she's like, whatever. And then she's like sitting on the log for a while these 2 idiots are like arguing about who's actually going to go tell Lady Stark, Sansa, that there's some random girl here. And then she kind of just like disappears off by herself. And these 2 were idiots. It kind of seemed like fill up. Yeah, but I mean, it was funny, I guess.
We haven't had too much humor this season.
Yeah, I mean, you got to add a little bit of levity here and there, I suppose. Yeah. It shows that they have this character. I don't know, but it was funny. So she runs off. They tell Sansa that, and she's like, "Oh, I know where to find her." And Arya is down in the catacombs where all the statues of all the fallen Stark family members and stuff like that is, and she's staring at her father's statue. They have a really weird. I thought that was actually going to fight, because when like Sansa walks in and she's like, it wasn't like this big like music kicks in like, sister, I'm so happy to see you. Like, they just embrace each other. It's like they just walk down. It's just like coldly have this more joke. I mean, it seemed more realistic. I
because that was their relationship when they.
That was their relationship. Them, so. Yeah. it made sense. I honestly felt like I had more emotion watching the scene of them reuniting than that they actually had emotion between themselves, I guess, which was another thing. So that's good. Arya doesn't do much this episode apart from she shows up, has a few lines, talks about stuff, receives a dagger, and then in a scene a bit later that's not really worth talking about much, she fights
Brienne.
She trains with Brienne and she like kicks her ass basically. Or she's like, well, they tie by the end of it. Yeah. But Sansa's also watching, and Sansa looks really pissed off for some reason. I didn't understand.
I don't know. I think she looks a bit concerned about Arya's list, and
who's on it? Yeah, it's like who's on this actual list? Because she was taken as a joke at first, like, I've got a list to kill people. That's so funny. And then Bran like points out that like he knows about the list and all this sort of stuff. And when she actually sees her fighting, she was looking at her like, I don't know. I mean, if that was me, I'd be like, fucking, it's awesome that my little sister can fight. Like, we're fucking rocks. She'll take on all the White Walkers. Like, it'll be fine. She's got them. So that's all of Winterfell base up in the north this week, more or less. Littlefinger being a bit of a dick, basically. Bran being a dick. Heading over to Dany. Worth pointing out, I really enjoyed the first moment before things get too serious between her and everything else that happens in this episode. Her and what's the girl's name? Miss Sandy. That's something it. Like that. Those two have like a really cool, like girl talk second, like girl talk moment, which it was just like kind of like chucked in. But I don't feel like it's throwaway, like because it kind of adds character to the show. That like if
the Grey Worm is very good.
Yeah, it just like added this like kind of feeling of if shit wasn't as fucked up as it was, and like if she won, if Dany wins, you can imagine her like ruling where she would be a lot more relaxed and she would have fun talking to her. Like you can imagine her being like stuff like that happening, but Dany's always got to be so like shit's always happening. She's always like on serious. Got to keep up face, but it's just like for a couple seconds there, she kind of broke her thick skin or whatever, and that was just like two girls just talking the shit, I guess, which is cool because we don't really see her do that. She's always so fucking serious, which I mean it's understandable, but. So John shows up. He's like, "Hey, I'm going to show you the dragon glass before I start mining it and stuff like that." And they go down to the beach into the cave where the dragon glass is, and. Personally, I thought it was a little bit unimpressive. I wanted like a huge like crystal cave of shining things everywhere. And it was just like, this is what dragon glass looks like, I guess. Like there's a whole heap of it. Cool. That's interesting. But the more interesting part, of course, was that John leads her into the back of the room into a separate cave system, whatever it is, which is filled with murals or paintings or whatever however you want to call it and stuff like that. Lots of random shit that I didn't like see any significance or like understand if it was like stars and heaps of stuff that I suppose looks cool in the episode. But the important thing he leads her over to show her is a picture of the first men, which that was another thing I looked up after the show because I'm like, I know like I like slight understanding of what exactly the first men are in the Game of Thrones universe, but I'm like, I wanted to read up a bit more because I feel like this whole season I'm like having to like catch up and like Google stuff that's like hasn't. Yeah, it's just like stuff like that. It's like it's like first men were like the original people that were there before the people came from like over the other side, like where Bravos were, like those sorts of people came over and they took over Westeros, and that's like now who kind of rules it. Apart from the only people who like basically are descendants from the first men, the original rulers of the land, are the wildlings, are basically 100% blood. The further north you go, there's a chance that like people like the Starks and stuff like that would have like a little bit of the original first men blood and stuff like that in them. There's nothing amazing about first men. It wasn't like they were giants or like superpowered beings or anything. It was just like they were the original rulers of the land that everyone lives in now, the original natives, or however you want to put it. But the picture's significant because it shows the original people working with the forest people, forest children, whatever you call them, and they were teaming up to fight. Another picture we see over to the left, slow pan over, really good pictures of White Walkers.
Like
it wasn't even like it wasn't like hey, it wasn't like John had this could show it to Danny and she'd be like, yeah, but are they really White Walkers? Like this isn't a really great drawing. It's just like they are 100% definitely
that's
zombies.
some solid
like,
colouring in.
yeah, that's some solid colouring in done on these mural systems here. Does it all. Danny seems to like be a bit like, this is like she's not questioning it. She's like, I understand what the significance of this means. Like that, what you're telling me is true. That they've been around. That people had to fight them before. Interesting, of course. That means they won originally, and like pushed the White Walkers back, presumably back in history. But Danny, of course, is still just like, mate, bend the knee. I'll help,
bend the knee and you'll have no more problems.
Bend the knee and you'll have no more problems. I do like that they're kind of like getting along, and I presume that if John doesn't die, he will eventually like just give in to that, or they'll reach more of a thing to get along like that. But she's I mean, if she sees the problem, I feel like she'll just kind of give up on the bend the knee thing and be like, all right, I mean, there's thousands of them in front of me right now, so I guess I'll help out anyway, because there's not really much choice about the matter now.
Well, I think the simple solution is they won't accept a ruler from the south, so they have a ruler from the north. So Danny and John, they're going to get married.
Yeah, but you want to delve into like the possible like ancestry of that system, or
royalty's generally inbred, it seems. Some people would say
it's so funny because they have like talked about like they have that other scene where what's the old like his secondhand mate's
Davos.
name? Davos, yeah. Sir Davos.
Yeah.
Like basically asked John like if he has the hots for her, and she's like, John's like, I have no time for that.
Well, you know what happened the last time John went in a cave?
Yeah, well, oh, shit. You're right. You're 100% right. So that all happens. They come out of the cave. They get some good bad news. Well, it's bad news.
Oh, that look between Tyrion and Varys.
Tyrion, yeah.
That look, yeah.
So he delivers the news that they did last episode, or it could have been a month ago by the time Tyrion heard this fucking news, the way Game of Thrones time travels, of course. They did take Castle Rock. I was about to say Castle Rock, but of course they lost High Garden and everything that was happening there, and Dany kind of just starts to spit it, and for some reason, like, it shows that she's earning, like, she's getting a little bit of respect for John, at least because she like turns to him and asks like what his opinion on the matter is, and he talks her down from the idea of once again just jumping on a drag and then just burning the fuck out of
innocent people,
people, just like burning down the castle, Cersei in it, and
in comparison
like
to what happens later in the episode.
Yeah. Well, they weren't innocents, so it's stuff like that. So yeah, well, they're not innocents.
No.
Not
completely.
What's his fuck shows? No. She kind of disappears. Davos and John have that whole scene we was just talking about. Kind of like, well, they talk about Dany a bit, like, he says like she has a good heart and all this sort of stuff. So they're liking each other a bit more. You can tell they're liking each other more now, considering when they'd heard about each other and when they first meeting, of course, it was like hostile. Butting heads. Yeah. The very, very hostile first meeting scene. Back to Jaime, they have like a really weird scene. Well, not weird, quite funny. They meet Dickon. I laughed. I did laugh.
Keep calling him Rickon.
Because just because of Bron's laugh, like, it wouldn't have made me laugh if the guy was like, my name's Dickon, I probably would have thought in my head, that's a little bit funny, but I wouldn't have actually laughed out loud. No. But like sitting there on the couch and just being like, Dickon, and then Bron just what, mate? Like, I was like, that's kind of funny. And then at some point here, I suppose it's worth mentioning that of course, I completely forgot about it because it didn't matter to me. Dickless shows back up. John doesn't kill him. Theon shows back up. John doesn't kill him. Whatever. Let's get to the main scene. Jaime's traveling off the gold. I don't know if they're like a week ahead from the start of the episode.
At the very start, they said, all the gold's gotten into King's Landing.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. So I assume the gold went ahead, and that was just all a bunch of food in those caravans.
Either way,
That's
it's
my
still
interpretation. Yeah.
something. I guess we'll find out what the exact degree of like Cersei's loss is next episode, I suppose. But there's still like a lot of soldiers. There's still like a lot of them. It doesn't appear as many as like last episode when we saw the full Lannister army, but it does appear to be like a fair chunk, especially when they later up show the full like them lined
up. Yeah.
Up, like because they're
They
not
went
backwards,
way
like
up the road as well. I would
way up the road. So there's a fair few of them, a lot more than I think. You see, that it looks like at first, I suppose, because it looks like the army's a lot smaller when you just see Jamie talking and stuff like that. So Dany's disappeared. Where is she? Jamie and Bronn are talking about fucking whatever they were talking about. Hey, Dickon, you're very good. Yeah, it's good battle. Blah, blah. How'd it feel to switch sides? And then we just start hearing like pattering or like a thunder, and Jamie picks it up straight away like something's coming. So everyone form formation. They form into formation. And then over the hills, it's a fuck ton of Dothraki. And what follows behind them?
Motherfucking
a fucking
dragon.
And it is an epic shot. Like there's a lot of shots in this battle that are screenshot worthy, like really cool.
Yeah.
And my favorite one, and I think the best one, is the one later, like the side-on dragon just flying along across the screen, just like breathing fire down on the line of people in front of them. That is like probably one of a shot we've waited a very long time to see something like that happening, and it's really good. But at the same time, just seeing all these Dothraki like flying down this cliff, and then just like the dragon rising up from the back of the mountainside behind them, I was like, this shit is fucking epic. I can't wait to see what's about to go down here. This shit is going to be awesome, and you can tell they're just going to get fucked up because it's just like, when you're looking at the two sides...
They're fighting a dragon.
Well, it's not just the dragon. It's just, like, even with the Dothraki, I just reckon they're fucked. Because it's just like the Lannister army is very much like your typical... They just line up in their strict, like, straight line structure. It's like default kind of thing. The Dothraki soldiers are flying in just like a structure that...
They're creative.
It's like if you... They're creative. They're not
by-the-book person
predictable.
creative.
Yeah, it's like... They're not doing what's by the book. They're not doing what you'd expect a normal battle person to do. You got these dudes like standing on top of horses. They're like fucking jumping off them to go behind the line to get to kill people. Like they're just... It's really hard, I feel like, in these things. It's kind of like in sport, I suppose, if you want to... Like a sport analogy or something like that. It's like... It's like if you... Like a hockey or something, it's like everyone older plays... And if someone just lined up older players on the left side of the field or something like that, they'd be like, what are you going to do? Like, what are they doing? It's just like the confusion factor. I mean, like, you don't know if it's going to work, but if you see the Dothraki
like the flying V.
It's just like, what is even going on? And then, of course, it's like, what the fuck do you do about the thing? And it is a mess. Seeing the... When Dany starts lighting them on fire, it's just like people burning everywhere. They're just like
went
melting.
to ash straight away.
Some of them are on fire running around, but the ones that just get directly hit are just like
gone.
Ash within a second. And then that first dragon shot fire just like leads, just opens up a path for the Dothraki to get in there and just start fucking up shit. And within a minute, the Lannister army's formation is broken. They're running around, people going left, right, and center. People getting chased up here, horses running crazy, shit's going crazy. Eventually, Tyrion appears. He's up on the cliff just watching it all. And from his angle, you can just see him like watching what is a mess. Like it is a crazy mess.
Yeah.
I think I really, really enjoyed this battle. If I'm going to judge on battles. However, and I saw people going crazy online about it, it is not Battle of the Bastards level.
No.
At all. Like, not even close. The dragon epicness and everything like that is fine and really great, but one of the reasons the Battle of the Bastards was so good was because it was so tightly directed and edited and all this sort of stuff, and it gave you like it was a lot more... Like, there's the shot of Jon where he's just like, but the camera's behind him, and she's just like taking down dudes and stuff like that. So much epic. Them all getting together, they're climbing over the dead bodies, trampling when they're like stuck in that place. That battle's probably still going. I wouldn't be surprised if the show ends and the Battle of the Bastards still the most like well put together fight thing, because there's so many reasons that fight's bad. This battle was great and everything like that, but it still felt to me there was like too many cuts. Like it was very like hectic, I suppose, and stuff like that going on. What did you think?
Yeah, it was good. A lot of fire. They must have had a ton of people's on set trying to manage all that. And then to have all the horses and everything as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, pretty crazy. I can understand where you think the Battle of the Bastards is better though. Yeah.
I just mean from like a production.
Yeah, because there was like some shots that, just
production and qualities wise. I mean, the dragon shot, like the main one, the one I was talking about where like it goes across the screen, that looks really fantastic, really great. There was a few other shots of the dragon where the effect visual quality, like the VGX of it, wasn't quite up to par. Like I felt like it wasn't great at all points of time. At some points, it looked a little bit dodgy to me.
Okay.
So that kind of takes away from it. And I mean, that's just another thing with the Battle of the Bastards. Like it was mainly just a bunch of
more
dudes.
practical. Yeah.
There was one giant, but it was just mostly just horses and dudes. So it was a lot easier to just practically just do, I suppose. It was just a more practical fight. So there, to cover the rest of the fight, Bronn eventually runs over to a carriage, kicks it down. It opens up like some fucking cool Da Vinci gadget out of Assassin's Creed 2. And inside is the big fuck off spear gun that
the Scorpion. What a boring
Is that
name.
what it was actually called? Is that what they called it?
That's what he called it.
I missed that. Okay. The Scorpion, or as we call it in the Explosion Network, the big fuck off spear gun.
Much better name.
Much better name. He uses it to kill one dude slight in front of him as a test shot. Good job. Got him. And then by Dothraki guy. And then he does manage to land. No, he misses his first shot.
It didn't take as long to reload as you said it would.
No, I mean, when you look at that thing, you're like, this is going to take them half an hour to reload. But he manages to just reload this thing within 30 seconds by himself, which I'm like, don't know if that's realistic, but we are on a show about dragons and zombies and stuff. So, yeah. I mean, he's pretty kick-ass. But he does land the second one, I think. I think he misses one.
Yeah, he misses, it zooms over ahead.
Yeah, and then gets the next one. Dragon goes down, but not, as soon as it goes down, it lands right next to the spear gun, and the dragon more or less is just like, this fucking thing hurt me, and like straight away like tail whips the fuck out of that.
I love the fact that Dany, she sees the arrow go past and she's just like, no, that's not going to do any damage to my dragon. I'll just do the exact same, I'll just go down the exact same way again.
Yeah, no, it's like she kind of underestimated the power of it, I guess, but at the same time, it's like we already watched the dragon take like 100 arrows.
That's true.
Well, maybe not 100, but it did take like 100. A lot of arrows straight to the chest, and they all just bounced off. Yeah. So I suppose in her mind, she's like, small arrow, big arrow, an arrow's an arrow. Like maybe it won't do the damage, but yeah, it goes. So I think she underestimates that, gets a bit too confident, and then she gets a bit more. She feels it's like after they smash it all, everyone should just fuck off. And at this stage, everyone should just be running, of course, because the battle's lost. The dragon's still there. It's not dead. Like, it's hurting. Sure, it's down. You can't go near it, though. Who would go near it? You'd have to be an idiot to go near the fucking dragon. That would be silly. Which is, of course, what everyone's thinking. Tyrion's up there, staring at his brother, who's staring at the dragon. Going... And I liked when Tyrion was like, just fucking run. Just leave, you idiot. Like, why... What are you going to do? And I couldn't tell as he's staring, like, if he was like, I'm going to kill her, I'm going to kill the dragon. Either way, it's a bad idea.
It's a bad idea.
It's just a really bad idea, because the dragon's not down. It's still very much alive. He charges in with the spear, of course, and the dragon turns around just in time. Now, Dany also deserves a minus point and a credit against her here, because she is seemingly just oblivious. I mean, I understand she's trying to help her dragon.
Yeah.
She's trying to get the spear out.
Can't hear this horse coming.
Yeah. It's like, I understand what you're trying to do, but at the same time, have a bit more map awareness or something, because you're still on a fucking battlefield. Like, just get your shit. She's just complete. She's like, no, I'll be fine.
Some rogue arrow could have taken her out.
Exactly. I was like, come the fuck on. Like,
why did Jamie have to go with the spear? You could have thrown it. Why did he throw it?
I don't know. And so Jamie's flying in. Someone at the last second saves him. Was it Bronn? Probably.
Probably.
Let's assume so. It could have been
Bronn or
someone
Dickon.
random.
It's got to be
Could have
one
been
of those
Dickon. Yeah, it has to be one of these
Dickon.
guys. So he lands in the water, and that's where the episode ends. That's the big cliffhanger. And I mean, it is a cliffhanger because it's worth pointing out that with the armor he's wearing, he will probably sink unless...
Was that a deep... They weren't next to the ocean, though, so how deep is that river?
I don't know, but he's falling very far in that thing. So, I mean, that's... Yeah, so he's going to sink unless A, someone comes down to save him, or B, he somehow manages to, like, shred his... like, get his armor and stuff off him, at which point he might be able to, like, swim back up. However, if he swims straight back up, he's still just going to be in the face of Dothraki army and a dragon.
Yep.
So my prediction would be he gets rid of the armor or something, manages to swim back up, and he's going to end up captured by
The Dothraki.
Danny.
Yeah.
Or the Dothraki. Or something like
Tyrion
that. Which means that we're going
Tyrion
which means
will
we're going
ask
to
him to
have...
spare.
Yeah, ask him to spare his brother because they do have a good relationship, which is kind of what I want because then we will finally get a Tyrion-Jaime reunion in a time period where Jaime has now since learned that Tyrion never actually killed little bastard boy. What's his name?
Joffrey.
Joffrey. My God, I'm forgetting everyone's name. He never actually killed Joffrey, and they're very much in different places now and they haven't seen each other for a very long time.
Yep.
And this season has been a lot about reunions so far. Lots of reunions.
Lots of
happening.
reunions.
Do you think that's how it's going to happen, or what? Do you think it
That's
just dies?
pretty much how I'm sure it's going to play out.
Yeah, because I mean,
To go out like that would be pretty disappointing.
yeah,
And Cersei needs to know.
Yes,
Elena did that. She poisoned Joffrey.
If he gets away, I wouldn't understand. Like, if he manages just to swim down the river and suddenly just be away from all the Dothraki and stuff, I'd be like, that doesn't seem right at all. Because there's heaps of them. There's no way for him. He has to get captured.
Well, Euron Greyjoy comes in with his boat. It fishes him out.
shit just goes crazy. But yeah, that was this week's episode. I thought it was a great episode.
Yeah, pretty great.
It was pretty great. I'm enjoying most episodes this season, though. I mean, the biggest problem I had with this episode, once again, is probably the problem I'm just going to have to get over for the rest of the season, which is still that, like, the time jump thing. Every time it happens, my brain is still just like, what black hole system is going on? Like, I don't really understand what's happening.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
And the focus on this knife.
The focus on the knife was a little bit
dagger,
really confusing as well. And I mean, that is a negative. Like, if afterwards, if I have to watch two scenes of something and then after episode, like, look it up why it's significant or why I cared, I mean, it's just like, oh, that's a little bit annoying. But
Well, he did say in that speech, this is the knife that someone tried to kill you with. It pretty much set off the
people
war.
Might forget. People might have forgot that assassin tried to kill him. Like, lots of way more important shit's happened.
People should be paying more attention.
Oh my God, people should rewatch season 1. Sure. All right, let's ask the question of the week. Who do you think's going to end up on the throne?
I think Danny's still going to... Danny with John, I'm thinking. Yep.
Danny with John? I'm going to change my fucking answer.
Oh! The first person! Oh no, Jack did last week.
Did it? I'm getting off my little finger train because
he's going to be dead by the end of the season.
I'm switching my I'm switching my little finger prediction to him getting killed by Arya.
Yep.
That's how that's going down now. So I'm switching to John.
John?
Yeah, I'm switching to John.
Yeah. Okay.
I can see it happening. I can see it happening now because I mean, there's lots of things, and we don't have time to go into all the it's like the bloodline, there's just many different ways he could actually end up there now, I suppose, and especially the way him and Danny's relationship's playing out more now and stuff like that, and what's happening, and looks like he's not going to die. So I don't know. I'm going to go with John this week. I feel this episode just made me feel very John likely. Hopeful for John. And also the way Danny acted this episode. I mean, you can call what she did a victory, but at the same time, it wasn't executed very well.
No.
As far as I'm concerned. Like, that battle was not executed well at all. She got what she wanted, I suppose. However, it was just a mess.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a mess, and she got way too head confident. And I think if that head confidence continues, then she's just going to end up dead.
Probably. There's a good chance.
That's how I feel about that. Anyway, until next week, I'm looking forward to next week's episode because, well, it's simply because it is the last 3, to be honest.
Yeah,
like I just feel like because we're finally kicking into it, and because there's only, feel like the last 3 episodes are probably going to be quite hectic.
Yeah.
Is how I feel about it. Because I'm still sticking by my theory that they're going to have to wrap up this, or majority wrap up the who ends up on the throne question this season before they can deal with the White Walkers next season. Because I don't want the White Walker battle just to be like the last 2 episodes of the last season. So I'm still standing by my idea that they have to wrap up this throne stuff, and it's just got to get happening. So I'm looking forward to finding out how Danny goes with not killing Jamie next week. Don't forget to subscribe down below if you want to check out more of the Explosion Network content. Head over to explosionnetwork.com. Follow us on Twitter and stuff like that. Don't forget to give the video a like.
Please.
All that sorts of great stuff. Until next week, don't forget to wear fireproof pants when around dragons. Bye bye.
Don't know how effective that is, but
We will defeat him.
Bran saw the Night King and his army marching towards Eastwatch.
Bad things are coming.